This is Signal and Noise, bringing clarity to data, tech, and AI.
All right. So we have Patrick Duggan here and a little impromptu session
Let's do
we're
it.
going to run. Just because, when we're sitting backstage, I mean, over there, and and we're having a little chat about all things AI, a really fascinating topic randomly unearthed itself, which is
hard in AI these days.
I know.
Everybody's just AI and then what, right? Yeah,
exactly. Well, this one actually had a point, and I liked it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to dig into a little bit, which is you're talking about AI monetization and how there's almost like a mad scramble for AI companies now to go, all right, well, we've got people using it, but that's not making us the money we need to pay back all of the debt or pay back what we need to, or make what we need to make. So tell me what you told me. Unpack that in terms of the individual versus enterprise shift.
Yeah, and just add a layer of that, right? Like brands are thinking about, I want to give access to AI, but no way to kind of gatekeep or guardrail the usage and consumption, which is where the model is going from like a pricing perspective, right? So if I unleash Claude to you and I, and we really find a way to use it, and we're driving a lot of consumption, well, that's driving usage off the rails, right? So a lot of figuring out the balance. What we were talking about a little before is I, as an individual, may be using Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, others for my own personal use, mixing in some professional use. How do I keep the guardrails and the usage around? I've got my, my guarded brand content or my, individual PI or whatever the case may be that I need to maintain. I got to think about enterprise level brands for this, right? And the AI companies are thinking about it the same way.
Yeah, right. And I was talking about this to someone yesterday as well, and it seems to be the case that a lot of AI companies obviously bill by the token, so it's all usage based, which is a model that CFOs are not yet used to, and therefore it's almost exacerbating, like they'll get a bill due at the end of the month. It's way bigger than what they expected. And that is exacerbating the need to, I guess, maybe reduce headcount even, right?
Well, and I think that's the great unknown about how do I make sure that the users of this understand the impact of what they're doing, right? Like, oh, I built out this really great deck and I want to make it a PDF versus a PowerPoint, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so far downstream, like, I don't know token consumption. I don't know the actual usage that's occurring. Meanwhile, bills are skyrocketing, right? Or like, hey, like I'm just playing around with it. I'm going to make a Mavis Beacon game. Like I played that when I was a kid. Like, oh, look what I can make. Like HTML coding. I don't have to do it myself anymore. Meanwhile, like the bill comes at the end of the month, right? And to your point, the CFO panics.
Yeah.
And I think everybody with the great question is this going to take jobs? Is this going to make more people more efficient? What does it actually mean? And, how companies like B2B companies or MarTech or ad tech companies are thinking about that so different than how brands are thinking about that, how that drives usage or engagement for them or what their end goals are, right?
Yeah.
And so as I'm thinking about AI strategy, talking with companies, it's really around what are you actually trying to accomplish, which is the same challenge that's existed for 10 or 15 years as we've moved into this digital era. It's a it's the same question, new problem in the sense of how do I do it with AI?
Yeah.
Well, what are you really trying to accomplish? And what are the measurable outcomes that exist in this world of it? Like people say outside the box, there's not even a box anymore, right? It's so far past that. So the reimagining of what's real and what's not is even the start of like, how do I get to some real outcomes?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's wild that, I mean, the on vogue LLM of the day, I guess, is, a year ago, you couldn't have convinced me that anyone other than ChatGPT Enterprise would be obsessing, or, the employees would be obsessing over it. Whereas now it feels like with Claude Design, Claude Artifacts, Live Artifacts, Claude Code, obviously, it feels like Anthropic is the darling of the day in terms of what you just talked about, which is people using it to do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Is that what you're seeing as well?
In my personal usage, that's certainly how I feel. And I think as you look at the business models, one of the things I really love about Anthropic is their goal of scaling is really around governance and kind of guided responsibility on the product. The way that they talk about themselves and the generation of their spinoff really, right, was around, hey, all of this AI usage is out of control. How do we do it in a way and how do we make ourselves be the beacon of governance? Because that's the other thing people aren't talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the government lawsuits and all these sorts of things. But when governance comes on a federal level, it's like how we talk about third-party data, right? Individual states creating their own privacy laws and all of that. Well, what's going to be the step for that from AI, right? And I think their vision of we want to stay in front of that and make the Googles and the open AIs of the world have to spend so much money to catch us on governance is a really smart strategy.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, the other thing that I guess was really interesting to think about is, I guess the incoming waves of salespeople and go-to-market people. And so, where do you think they're gonna, like, if you're gonna hypothesize on like who all these new salespeople go after,
Yeah.
and where the battleground is it agencies? Is it direct brands?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And as a partnerships guy, partnerships in my blood, it's fascinating to me, right? Because you're talking about folks selling a thing right now that you don't really have to sell, right? People are buying left and right. They want to get engaged as quickly as possible. They want to get these tools in their hands. So a lot of folks are looking at this and just saying, I don't need partnerships. I don't need this engagement. I don't need these co-sell models in a lot of cases, right? Google has worked historically really well at resell. I think a lot of people are throwing a lot of stuff against the wall to see what works. But I think as you think about the large consulting firms, the agencies, like nobody's going to give this revenue up that's historically been theirs. How do they protect their moat in terms of engagement, helping brands along? That's not going to change with the AI world, right? And so I think there's going to be this flood of usage. There's going to be this terror of I've overspent on consumption. How do I become efficient on consumption is kind of the next level. And I think there's a space very much so where agencies, GSIs, and even hyperscalers and technology partners are going to play a significant role.
Yeah.
And it's going to be kind of an evolution shift, but it's going to feel familiar in a lot of ways. I think the speed and velocity in which it moves because of the world of AI is what's going to make it feel different because it's moving so much faster.
Yeah, it'll give whiplash for sure, but I think the same patterns will play out.
I believe so for now. And this is a whole new world, so we could all be wrong on this, but I feel like we've seen a little bit of this before.
Yeah.
I've talked to folks who compare this to the .com days, right? And it's like, where do you make your bets, right? It was infrastructure then is where a lot of the bets happened during the .com days. Who were the winners of the day? Applications, right? And so I think that there's an interesting play to see how this plays out as we evolve. Like, yes, there's a lot of momentum right now with infrastructure, right? The investments that, even if we talk about Anthropic, that we just saw AWS announce more investment, right? Google's made a significant investment. Competitors are investing in the same product.
Yeah.
Who wins in the day in terms of infrastructure versus application? Where applications go as it relates to this is going to be crazy to watch over the next 12 months.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I sit there and look at all the analogies that get drawn as to AI is like electricity, and the electricity company meters you, but the people that run the businesses make the money.
Right.
And it's that kind of thinking. But then also you do see Claude building tools that
Yes,
like other business are going to get steamrolled by even Claude Design, Claude Artifacts.
totally.
There's so many dashboard companies, so many there's so many businesses out there that, I mean, that is, so the electricity analogy, it made sense when I heard it, but it isn't actually happening like that.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting to look at.
Well, and we think about ISVs and the way that they're building their like a mousetrap that leverages all these tools, but it's really just a mousetrap, right? So if you build something spectacular, how long until that's either synchronized on a larger platform that grants it more accessibility, or how long until some of these companies leading the charge are like, we can build that into the solution or the tool itself, and like great ideas immediately been monopolized, right? So like how you moat those sorts of things or like make your presence there, I think is a real challenge for brands building really, really cool things leveraging AI.
Yeah. Right, this is a really fascinating topic, and I'm sure we're going to come around to it, but thank you for humoring me on this impromptu session, and we'll catch you the next time.
Yeah, sounds great. Listen, I always love a good improv, so greatly appreciate the time as always, and hope you have a great rest of the week.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, cheers.